Just us. Just us.
The Warriors took on the Sacramento Kings and unfortunately didn't come away with a win, but it wasn't all bad.
There were some highlights.
Some bright spots.
For sure. This was the back end of a back-to-back game, so the Warriors played last night as well, and most of the stars rested today, whether because of injuries, illness, or just needing the rest. Our starting lineup looked pretty different today.
Yeah, and it started off really, really positively. Will Richard got his first ever NBA start, which was exciting for him. There was a clip of Steve Kerr kind of acknowledging the moment for him prior to the game. And I can confidently say he was one of the players that definitely delivered. He had like 30 points.
He had exactly 30 points.
Yeah, and that is pretty spectacular for an NBA debut starter moment. He, along with Kuminga and Moody specifically, really gave a lot of energy in the first half and were the reason it looked like we were going to comfortably win the game.
Right. They were all in double-digit scoring. Unfortunately, there wasn't very much scoring from the rest of the team. There were some intangibles that other players brought to the table. There was some really good defense, some good deflections, but things started to unravel in the third quarter.
Yeah, in the third quarter is where it all went very, very, very wrong. The Sacramento Kings weren't shooting particularly well up until that point. They're not a good rebounding team currently, so they weren't doing that either. And that didn't change massively in the second half. Dennis Schroeder started hitting. DeMar DeRozan started foul beating, I guess, securing those fouls. But if the Warriors had carried on playing in the way that they were playing in the first half, I think they would have beaten them. The issue is they just started turning the ball over and committing fouls non-stop.
Yeah, I think turnovers are going to be the limiting factor for the Warriors this season, and that seems to be the trend so far. It's afflicted us in games in prior seasons, so I think taking care of the ball is the number one priority, which goes without saying. But really, the Sacramento Kings in the third quarter changed their strategy a bit. They decided to go more to DeRozan, Malik Monk, on Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook ended up with a triple-double, but they went ISO. So they really started just attacking the basket, and that's where the Warriors got into major foul trouble.
Yeah, it was I think they realized that they could play youth experience game, and the experience won out over the youth. The Warriors' young players had plenty of energy. The problem they had was they just were being, having rings run around them by these seasoned players who know exactly how to diffuse everything they were trying to do. And it didn't help that any opportunities to score at the rim, the Warriors usually missed, which is, I think, for me, one of the most frustrating things to watch repeatedly. Even though they may be young, players like TJD, who are in second year, Pods, Kuminga, they should not be taking the ball all the way to the rim and then not making it. It feels like an open goal miss, and that happened a few too many times in the game for it to be anomalous. And it looks like a pattern now. They look like not reliable in the times that matter. TJD is not good, unfortunately. Previous season he had a lot of moments which were encouraging, but since then I don't know what has happened to him. But he's just become, I don't know if it's because he's not getting a lot of minutes and it's hurt his confidence, but he's not defending very well. He's not rebounding very well. And the opportunities he does have to put the ball through the net, he's missing.
And we only lost by 5 points.
Mm-hmm.
So those missed dunks, missed layups, even that last shot that Kuminga took in the paint, he shook his defender off. He had an open basket. Yeah. He missed.
And he has the athleticism to just jump forward and place the ball into the net. He wasn't so far that it would have been a travel or anything like that. Even then, he could have passed it back out. Instead, he took a mid-range shot that missed, which I think was a lapse back into a regressive moment for Kuminga. He went back into last season form where he was trying to, create opportunities just for himself and do everything to score instead of really thinking about what's best for the game right now and what is available to him to convert that into an actual basket. And it was a selfish moment, and we paid the price for that, unfortunately.
Yeah, so overall, the young players got their moment to shine, but were unable to seal the deal down the stretch.
No.
In crunch time, they let the Kings just take over. They shot a bunch of threes. Dennis Schroeder, who was on the Warriors last season. It seems like everyone's out for revenge, to be honest.
Yeah.
Every team that plays us plays their best game,
Yeah.
and they really, really, really want to beat
And
us.
for some reason, when we have them, they are rubbish.
Exactly.
Like Dennis Schroeder was awful for us, and then went on an Olympic run, and then literally helped them win the Olympics. Or no, not the Olympics, the European basketball, whatever it is, tournament.
Team Germany, right?
Yeah, Team Germany. And now is like shooting. I don't think he had a game like that in the entirety of his Warriors career. It's probably why they didn't even give him a goodbye message when he left, and he was very salty about that.
Yeah.
It was a game where I think most people went in thinking we were likely to lose, but there was a good opportunity for the younger players to step up and kind of distinguish themselves. I think that Moody certainly did. Will Richard definitely did. Those two, I think, were the bright spots. I think Pods needs to really take a look at himself in the mirror and figure out what is going on here. His intangibles are what everyone keeps saying is good. Whenever he's on the court, he's in a plus, which is wild, but he is doing it. Unfortunately, his shot making isn't good. And I think that the frustrating part of it is in his first season, he was sinking threes like they were automatic buckets. And now he's just doing the weirdest stuff possible.
Ever since he broke his nose, I mean, something crazy happened.
The one consistent thing he's got is he's drawing offensive charges.
Yeah.
He's putting his body on the line, so I totally respect that. But that is an issue. Turnovers are bad. And also, unfortunately, I have to say, one of my favorite players, Gary Payton II, I don't know what he's doing.
He hasn't been doing well.
He's done basically nothing this entire season. And I realize he's not got consistent minutes, but he is the guy who you bring him in when you need defensive moments to stop players. And he just hasn't been doing that. He plays best when Steph is on the court. So when he's not on the court, Gary hasn't been great, and when they play him, it's unfortunate. And then the other player, I think it was pretty atrocious today, was Al Horford.
Yeah, he took a lot of threes, and he missed them all.
I keep thinking back to that moment where, he had that elite shooter question from the response to the reporter who was like, and said, "Oh, you don't think I'm an elite shooter?" Asserting that he is an elite shooter, and unfortunately, Al Horford, you are not an elite shooter.
I would just like to mention that Al Horford was 0 of 7 from 3 today.
I think that's pretty bad, but I think what's worse is when those misses happened. They were almost every single one was when the team was building momentum for a comeback. It looked like Moody would sink a three, they would block or get a stop, get the ball back, and Al Horford would end up with the ball, not in the best position, but the only one open, because they knew he would try and take a three and probably miss. And he sent it up each time, and it missed. And then from that, the next two plays were the Sacramento Kings taking advantage of that to, one, not just the Sacramento Kings players, the Sacramento Kings fans as well. Like, they were really, really loud, and you could tell that the momentum was just sucked away. And he did that about 4 or 5 times in that game. And Al Horford, all-star defender, elite defender, I don't know what's going on with him right now. I don't know what's happening with his toes or whatever, but...
Is it his toes?
His toe,
his right
one of his
toe or something?
I can't tell if that's one of
Big
those,
toe?
like, we need to take him out because of this. Oh, he's got a boo-boo, you can't play him, rest him, or if there's something genuinely wrong. But what I can say for sure is, like, in this game, his shooting was atrocious. And at the same time, he wasn't doing enough rebounding or defensive maneuvers to make up for the fact that he was missing and killing momentum.
Exactly. And if there's, there are certain teams that I really hate losing to, I'd say the Kings are one of them, because I've been in that arena And the cowbells are so annoying. The light the beam thing is
The light the
so
beam
annoying.
thing is, I know I'm inclined to dislike them as a Warriors fan and, Bay Area person, but I'm also able to step back and look at things and say this is a corny thing. I think light the beam might be one of the corniest things in the NBA.
I
Like, it's
I agree
so
with you.
lame.
Do you want to
It's
explain it to people who
Yeah,
don't know
people who
what it
might
is?
not know is anytime the Sacramento Kings win,
At home.
they at home they light a beam which is on top of the stadium that pierces the sky. You can see it from
It's like a
all of
laser.
yeah, it's like
A purple laser that goes into the sky, and everyone chants, light the beam, light
like
the
the beam.
beam.
But it reminds me of that, advice that you get whenever you're in a situation where you're a rookie and a veteran is giving you advice, and the advice they always give you is act like you've been here before. And the fact that they celebrate their win like this every single time, it's like, is this how do you win so rarely that you need to make such a big? It reminds me of Patrick Beverley jumping onto the commentators table to be like, showboating about how important their victory was, and it was just a random game.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the playoffs or the finals. It's like, all right, guys, like when the Warriors win or any other team, they celebrate in the arena and then they get on with it, right?
Yeah.
These dudes are like, we won, look everyone. It's like, do you have nothing else to live for? Like, what else going on? It's just a very
So it's just
corny
it's
thing.
very annoying to lose to the Kings.
Yeah, because they're gonna dine off this for the
I
rest
know.
of the season.
And
Probably.
I think we play them like 3 more times this season. So there's certainly kind of that rivalry factor.
Yeah.
And California teams play each other the most amount of times. Because there's like, 4 teams?
Yeah, I'm very disappointed in Kuminga. Kuminga usually has like breakout games against the Kings. And also, the Kings were one of the teams who were trying to get him in the off season. To go into that arena where historically you've been very, very good, and then play in front of a team that was desperately trying to get you and put on that performance, kind of a bad look. And this is not to diminish anything Kuminga has done this season. He's been phenomenal. It's just this game was a accurate reflection of the larger issue that Kuminga has, even when his play has got better broadly. It's when it matters, under stress, under crunch time, he buckles every single time. And he's been really good about addressing the other issues that the coaching staff have raised. That is the one thing that I still feel like is going to be a massive block. You can't build a team around someone who cracks under pressure in the way that he does.
Yeah, and I think at certain points he gets so discouraged that it affects his play. So even though he had 24 points, the efficiency really wasn't there. He was only 8 of 19 on his shots, and he had 5 turnovers. So he had the highest amount of turnovers on the team. And some of those were just unacceptable at this stage. What is he, his 4th year in?
He was doing that thing that I was really annoyed with, and we talked about constantly last season, where he would get the ball, drive, and instead of going in an earnest and honest way to try and put the ball through the net, he was trying to get a foul, and he does that thing where he goes, ah! And he throws the ball
flails
up in the air, and it's like, who is this show for? Because it's not working at all. And he also got, probably the worst thing to happen to him is, a veteran player did the most embarrassing thing that you can do to another player, which is predict what he's about to do, which is drive. And then I can't remember who it was. I think it was DeMar DeRozan or Malik Monk. Just pull the chair, where instead of blocking him, stepped out of the way and Kuminga fell over.
Yeah.
So it was like, you got punked in front of everyone. Like, you should be better than that. I'm sure he'll bounce back, but I think it's more annoying that this was a game that clearly they showed they could win, and then they lost it.
Yes.
Unfortunate. But the bright spots, Moses Moody
he's back.
He's taken another leap, I think. And Will Richard is what a pick up for the team. Whoever scouted him and made that decision, incredible.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that he was the 56th pick in the draft.
At this point, I would put him on the starting lineup instead of Pods.
Indefinitely, yeah.
Instead of Pods,
I would give
easily.
him the spot. The interesting thing that we'll conclude with is that Will Richard has been assigned to the G League.
The German league.
The wait, is it the G League, the
The
Gatorade
Gatorade
League?
League.
I always want to call it the D League because
Yeah,
that's what it was
development.
before, Development League. So he's been called to the G League, and Tam, do you want to share why that happens?
I honestly like it's because it's like he can go back and forth, right? And usually, well, I think in this case, but usually it's to try and get the more inexperienced players experience, right? And then whenever they need it on the main squad, they get called up and brought in, which is what happened this time. Like he was called up from the G League to play, and when he's not gonna be not needed, he will be playing in the Santa Cruz Warriors games. Um, I have a sneaking suspicion that he won't be playing very many of those Santa Cruz games, in the same way that QP, when he joined, he was also a G League player, but spent most of his time with the Warriors, the main squad. So I feel like he's going to be spending maybe a few games there every now and then, but will be a mainstay in the main roster, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's really great that he got the start. I mean, I would have expected Buddy Hield or someone else to get the start, but I think Steve Kerr has so much confidence in him and really wanted to show that they value him as a player. So him getting that starting role, I think this is like a turning point for him.
I think he values him, but I also feel like Steve Kerr sees that he's good enough as a player right now that the experience he needs is game time experience. So he's pushing him into that to kind of fast track the development of him in high pressure NBA environments, I think. And that's, to me, I read that as he has enough confidence to do that because he expects to be using him late into the season,
Right.
even potentially in playoffs. So I think that should be for. I bet Will Richard leaves this game chuffed, like happy as can be, because he's got the highest points in the team, 30, first, start. He's probably feeling good about himself, and he's humble enough. It looks like to. He's doing what the Sacramento Kings are incapable of doing. He's acting like he's been there before.
Right.
He looks like he's a 5-year veteran. Every time he shoots a shot and it like unexpectedly goes in, doesn't make a single facial expression, just carries on with it. I
Yeah,
will
he has
say
this quiet confidence,
Yeah,
very
he's
calm
a
and
killer.
cool.
Yeah, I think the best moment in the game was undoubtedly Pat Spencer though, doing the get off me shimmy to. Was it?
Someone had to do a shimmy.
I think it was DeMar DeRozan. Honestly, he was like, "Just get off me," which is fantastic. And Steve Kerr, in his post-game interview, said, "In the end, the story of the game is turnovers. 30-11 in points off turnovers. He literally just said that as we're recording this. I'm glad I have my notifications on for Steve Kerr quotes. But yeah, again, a game that we expected to lose, were given hope of winning, and then ultimately lost, but lost in a way that was frustrating and shouldn't be how we lose. If we lost because, it was a neck and neck race the entire time and they just the Sacramento Kings just managed to get the lead and stick it, great. But that's not what happened. We handed them that win. And you can't hand that kind of opportunity to a team that has Russell Westbrook, DeMar DeRozan, Malik Monk on the team, because they are just they're like superb players.
I think what's disappointing is that the games we've lost this season have been to teams that have really bad records.
Yes.
And we've won against really good teams.
Yes.
So I wonder what's going to happen next. Let's fast forward. Friday, we have we're playing the Nuggets. Jokic. Very scary to think about that.
We beat them once already in the overtime game, right? And it was them, right? Time is a flat circle. But I'm pretty sure that the overtime game that we won was against the Denver Nuggets. And, looks like we can do it again, but at the same time, there are multiple players who are injured. I'm very, very, very worried about how early it is in the season and how much our players are appearing in the injury reports. Steph was sick, so he called in, FaceTimed in the huddle, which was nice.
Yeah, I really liked that. It was very heartwarming. Right before they went out onto the court, they FaceTimed Steph, and he kind of led their huddle like he usually does, which was really nice to see.
That's cute.
How much they value and care about him and miss him.
He should be with the team now. because they now have to travel to Denver, and I imagine Steph will play for that unless he's not able to shake his cold. And if that is the case, he's gonna have to travel with them. So he's gonna be with them.
Yes, and you're right. We did beat the Nuggets in overtime in October 23rd,
Yes, one of the first games of the season.
137 to 131. That was a good game.
Yeah, and hopefully when we play them this week, we'll have Draymond will be back. I think he wasn't playing today either. I think hopefully Steph will have recovered. Hopefully Jimmy's back issues will have subsided, and we'll have our full squad ready to give it a good effort. I think we've been on kind of a losing streak now. They really, really need to win this game. Otherwise, I think the sentiment and the narrative around the Warriors is going to turn on them again.
Yeah. Let's focus one game at a time. Let's win the week. I feel like now we can't because we've lost
two
more
games
than
this
we've
week, so
won.
we're not winning this week.
But yeah, that's what Steve Kerr tries to motivate his team is win the week. So, try and have a positive record in the week.
Be like the Chicago Bulls.
Oh, their game was insane.
Which is not something anyone thought we'd be saying in this day and age.
Yeah, what are they, like 6-0?
The 6-1.
Oh, okay.
I think the only game they've lost isn't currently unbeaten OKC.
Okay.
So be like the Bulls.
Wow.
Be like the current Bulls and the Jordan era Bulls, which Steve Kerr knows a lot about. Anyways, we'll see you again on Friday.
Yes, see you on Friday.
For our reaction and recap of the game against the Denver Nuggets. Please remember to subscribe and like the post and share it as well. We've had a lot of positive comments and feedback on the show. We're still working to get into a proper groove of things, and then that's when you'll start to see some evolutions in the show, hopefully. But yeah, please do share it. It helps us massively. We want to grow it. Anything you can do to help would be much appreciated.
All right, just us on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Just us.